Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Today we've got this beautiful Ferrari F430 in. We're doing full body paint protection film. So we're going to protect every single painted surface with the PPF. This car has had a lot of paintwork, so we want to keep that finish locked in and protect it moving forwards. So that and a whole lot more to come in this episode. What do we call it? We Detail Cars, that's it. So there's that and a lot more to come on this episode of We Detail Cars. Organised on the software. Broken. The Ferrari F430 was released in 2005 as a replacement for the Ferrari 360 and was produced until 2009 when it was replaced by the 458. Available in both convertible and coupe body styles, it's powered by a 483 horsepower, 4.3 litre naturally aspirated engine with a red line of 8600 RPM. This particular F430 belongs to the owner of Open Track Days, who I do nearly all of my track days with. It's a lovely specification with the carbon-backed bucket seats, roll cage and F1 style paddle-operated semi-automatic transmission. Now, if you're a bit of a geek like me, I definitely recommend looking up the Ferrari F130 family of engines online, which is shared across many Maserati and Ferrari models. This specific engine is the F136E, producing 483 horsepower at around 8500 RPM and 343 foot-pounds of torque at 5250 RPM. Getting straight into the wash now, we're going to start with the wheels first, like normal, with the usual variety of brushes. The main thing is when we get onto the body, we're going to aim to clean every single edge, every seal, and every piece of trim to ensure that no dirt can come out and get stuck behind the paint protection film. The whole process is not that much different to the standard cleans that you do as part of a regular detail or paint correction, but we do try and pay extra attention to the rubbers and seals. Right, we're after the wash. Key on. Neutral check. Start button. Oh, beautiful.
I'm wearing black gloves. We get much more professional than that, really. It'd be nice if I had a better tool than an IKEA Allen key. That would probably be more professional.
It does a job.
She does.
Give screw.
Doodly doodly. Put the wrong one in, I think.
Hello, Dan.
Hello. I'm doing a concentrate. Wow, even uglier than
Excellent. I've had to resort to putting some tape down and a trim tool.
that's why it was so challenging.
Badge out, and it weighs a lot more than you would have guessed. It's almost like it's solid metal. Got to remove the Ferrari logo residue from the sticky tape. So spraying a tar and glue remover on. It's going to allow that to soak, and then we'll get all of the residue removed. Part of the paint protection film install, we're going to remove the Ferrari shield, or we're going to try to, and also the indicator, so we can make sure when we fit the film we don't have an edge around the badge. It's a bit more durable and it looks nicer. So part of that means we need to remove the arch liner, because we watched a Matt Armstrong video and that seems to be what you need to do. So I believe we have to do this. This is a Ferrari F430. Christ. Did you just fart?
Yeah.
It's on camera.
There's no way in it out.
Maybe. That was tight. And then we've got this rubber seal. Just move this out of the way. Oh yeah. Okay. So there is the indicator, and there are the bolts for the Ferrari shield. So we figured out we just pull the indicator, we think. Ow. Your nail hurts.
Just can't say. Okay, cool.
Mechanics. Indicator removed. Not too bad. Hole. It's easy really. And now the Ferrari shield. S&J. I think it might be an S. I'm not sure. I'm not a Ferrari geek. No, that's an S for sugar. And that looks like a J, but it's got the line across it, which makes me think it's an S. Fancy J. 5.5 millimeters.
Panic? Everyone thinks PPF is glamorous, but this is how it starts.
Really what it is. But we'll make sure to keep these safe. Badge is still on. We think there's some adhesive or glue or something. So we're just going to run some fishing wire or something underneath it. Dan found the other washer,
I moved the badge and I heard something. Ta-da!
Ah, there we go. Thank you. Oh.
Wasn't even stuck on. Oh, this is that.
Ah.
This has been off before. Okay, right.
Got a few stone chips here. Need to have those touched up. And there is a little bit of what looks like lacquer peel. That's not good. Now, I have said before about not needing to polish prior to the application of paint protection film, but with this car, it did have some previously applied sealants or waxes. I wasn't exactly sure what was installed, but we didn't want it to interfere with the paint protection film installation. So I went around the car with a Roots yellow light polishing pad and a medium cut compound just to remove any traces of these previous waxes. Where we say that machine polishing is not always necessary, we're not machine polishing to remove swirl marks, it's more like a cleanser polish. It's a very light polish with a brand new pad. And yet you can still see that we've got all of this dust just from the bonnet. So we are going to rinse the car off afterwards and basically rewash it. But imagine if you're doing a heavy cut over the whole car and how much dust there would be. So we're just in the process of polishing the door, as you saw on the video, and I've noticed that if we look up here in the corner of the door, there appears to be some corrosion or defect in the paint, just about here, you can see. So that's going to be visible under the PPF, and there are a few other imperfections. One, for example, is here, just on the wing. It's a little paint chip, and again, it's already been touched up somewhat. We didn't do the touch up, it was just like that. And it's one of those things that, again, the PPF will not hide that, and it's still going to be visible underneath. A little bit more inspection. So just focus the camera. This is the driver's side skirt, and on the back edge you see these sort of imperfections and dimples here. So again, the PPF isn't going to fix these or cover them. They will be visible underneath the film still. But obviously it won't get any worse. There won't be any more stone chips, no swirl marks or any other damage. Still doing the inspection after the polishing, or during and after the polishing. We have here, I'll zoom in, a paint run. So if it was in a more easy location, like here on a flatter surface, we might just sand it down a bit of 2000 grit, denib it basically, and then polish it. Because it's on the body line, it's right on the curve, we're going to leave this one alone. So we have organised on the software, we've got the flat part of the trunk deck here and here, we've got the hood or the bonnet, and we've got the headlights. I've arranged it in a way that's sufficient for printing. We might end up custom fitting or bulk fitting these two pieces into a one piece, but we're going to try the pattern since it prints nicely and see how that goes. One problem is on older cars, sometimes the patterns are not quite 100%, so we'll test it and we'll find out. Getting the film loaded up into the plotter. Handsome Dan is doing the install. When we're feeding the film through, we just want to make sure that the rollers are nicely lined up. We've already set all of the tension on the back, and then we'll roll the film out, make sure that it's straight on here, so when it's plotting it doesn't cut a straight line wonky and go off the edge of the material.
So then we watch here, see if it rolls out nice and straight, and if not, we'll readjust it.
Is that nice and straight?
Looked it from here, done over a metre, it's pretty tidy.
Yeah, boy. Plotting has completed now, so we're just going to cut the film off. So we run the film forward slightly, so we just move it forwards a couple of centimeters, so you can see it's been moved 0.7 centimeters forward. So we'll just put it a centimeter or two just in case it hasn't set itself correctly. Cross cut, as the name suggests, it just slices the film across, and then the film will fall into the basket, and then we'll take it from the basket and we'll stick it up on the wall where we can weed it out. It's been placed on the wall now, so we're just gonna take the cap sheet off, which is this shiny top coat, and weed out the bits of film in the middle. Everything's been weeded and the cap sheet is off of all of the pieces. So we've got all the wasted film down there, which is all the space where things can't be printed, and some of the cap sheet is down there as well. So it's probably very hard to see, but this is the line of the bonnet. It goes up and around. Got the headlights down there, and the boot trunk sections here. So we're ready to start putting the paint protection film on. The final step is going to be an IPA wipe down of the sections that we're going to work on, and then we can put the film on. We want to also make sure that we don't put any dirt onto the car. So this is a lint-free t-shirt. These trackies have been through the wash about 1 million times, so there's no lint on those either. But we're going to do a lint roll just to remove any hair or dust, and we'll also blow ourselves with the air compressor. That sounds really dodgy.
Of course we're going to blow ourselves.
So now that the film's roughly in place, just going to spray loads of slips so the film moves nicely. And we'll get it lined up. We'll pay attention to the little release cuts in each corner and make sure they're all done nicely. And then we'll take one corner, get that stuck down and pull it across. He says. So I've locked off these two corners, so the film is free to move other in this area, so I can actually pull it and get a little bit of stretch down here. I'm going to spray a little bit more slip underneath. It's quite warm today. Stretch with a little bit of tack in, and that's down. Got a few little lines from install here which we would like to get rid of. So now that that's been initially tacked, I can lift it up carefully. Just release the tension on those lines, let the film rest. Then we can squeegee it back down. The install lines will have gone, and they will settle further with time. So what we're doing here is we're just heating the edges of the film down. You can see where my finger is pointing to, there's a white edge. It almost looks ghost-like. So I'm just going to heat the film down and use my wrap glove just to close those edges down, which stops any dirt entering and also stops the film lifting up. We're also applying paint protection film to the headlights. You can put it on plastic as well as paint, so it's not just for paint, it will protect the headlights as well. Now we're going to do a little bit of a guided installation on the bonnet, as it's the easiest panel to see and understand. So the first step is just to rinse the panel down with some slip solution. Slip is just the installation solution. Then I squeegee that off to remove any remaining dirt or dust that we might have missed. The next step is going to be, again, spray the surface down with slip solution, which is now ready for the installation of the paint protection film. So Dan and myself have now got the film from the peel wall and we've placed it onto the car. And the first point for us and how we do it is to make sure that the top corners are aligned. So you're going to see me just grab a little bit of IPA here. I'm going to put some IPA behind the film so it doesn't move. So then that edge is now what we would call tacked. And Dan is going to do the same on his corner. So that means we can pull and stretch the film downwards without it actually moving from these corners. So now you see with a slight stretch down, just to remove any of the major fingers, and then I will flush the whole back of the film with slip, which just keeps everything nice and wet, meaning we can easily squeegee out all of the liquid for a perfect installation. When it is a little bit warmer, like on these days, it's important to try and keep everything nice and wet. As there is two of us doing the installation, we're going to split the bonnet in half and take a side each. And now you get to watch the sweet squeegee action. We're making sure not to leave any trapped moisture or air behind. If we did leave a little bit of moisture, that's not the end of the world because that will evaporate over time. But trapped air is a no-no, so we want to try and make sure that we just don't miss anything basically. And now onto the edges, I'm using a little bit more of the IPA solution just to get them to stick down nicely. This particular bonnet doesn't have a wrap on the rear where it meets the windscreen, as the underside of the bonnet is not painted, so the film won't stick. But it is wrapped everywhere else, down the front and the sides of the bonnet, which gives that really nice, seamless look, as well as fully protecting the edges and making the film much less likely to peel up in the future. Now onto the Ferrari badge. As we're trying to make this bonnet completely seamless, we're going to do an initial trim inside the square to allow us to get some IPA into this area to actually stick the film down. And so we'll spray some IPA in, go back in with the squeegee and get that to sit nice and flush. We do end up using a little bit of steam just to make this process easier, as the heat from the steamer helps to make the film a little bit more malleable. When it's finished with the badge installed, you won't see any edges here, so that's a really nice little touch. And now the most annoying part, which is using a heat gun to wrap all of the edges. So by using the heat, it just means that the adhesive is bonded nicely and is much less likely to lift over time, but it does take forever and you get many burnt fingertips. bit, and then we'll start getting these edges wrapped. We'll heat down the top edge and lock it off round the keyhole, but otherwise the door is on. So we've got wraps on the bottom and the side, just because there's not enough room on the front to get your finger in to wrap round. So this is a front clamshell on the 430, so this would be the wings. This is a small piece at the bottom of the bonnet, and obviously the other side. As it is an older pattern, we're just going to verify the fitment around the headlights. So we're going to print a small section around here, and then we're also going to print a little section here. We'll just test fit them to see how the fitment is, and then we can adjust the patterns if necessary. Add a wrap here, so we just need to lower this to 3mm, which as you can see shrinks it slightly. Going to confirm that by hitting apply, and now that part is done. We just need to do the same on the other side, otherwise that would look very bad, and we'll get it printed and fitted. You might be wondering why we're using steam here as well as boiling water, and it's just to help make the film stretch a little bit more. When the film's hot, it is much more malleable and stretchy than when it's cold, so it allows us the extra material to get the necessary stretch, especially on a large wing panel such as this. And by having the film hotter, it reduces the likelihood of any sort of stretch marks or damage.
Burning
seeing?
This right here. Because if you look with the film over it, you're like, well, that's a hair.
Yeah.
And then you lift it up, if you can, and it's still there.
So we're going to need to do an initial trim on the Ferrari badge, just there. So we'll need to do a first trim, and then we can flush some IPA in and get the rest of the water out and get the film down. First trim on the Ferrari shield, need to do an incision to open up to allow me to spray some IPA into here and get it all down nicely, and then we'll do the final trim. You can see there, we now have a little access hole. That's what she said. Put down now. Everything's pretty well lined up around the vents. We still have to trim out the washer jet holes, and we do need to do some trimming around the vent. We've just got a little bit of excess material here that you can see, so that will get trimmed out as well, but otherwise not too bad really. So everything just needs heating down and the final trims.
Diamonds and gold, you wanna sport that. Designer clothes, who gon' support that? Time is money, well come and get it. For my supply, show me you're committed. You want it all from me consistently. Give me your energy, intimacy. Let me help you make
Now you might be watching us do this panel and think, hey, that looks hard. It looks like you guys are struggling with that one a little bit more than some other parts of the car. And let me tell you, the side skirts are easily the hardest part on this car to do, and certainly one of the hardest panels that I've ever had to do on any car. The reason of this is simply because it's an older pattern, it's an older car, and changes in installation techniques and the design of the patterns has changed. So this being a slightly older pattern, it's not the easiest to install, and it did take what felt like forever. Although I'm really happy with how it came out in the end. It did take a lot of heat and a lot of steam to get the film to flow nicely into the curve by the intake.
Make your mind up, give you currency for my love. Like, wow, look at your smile. Yeah, it's been a while. Fendi house down. We up in the penthouse. You got me aroused. Oh, you like the sound. Oh, you like the sound.
Now talking about patterns, as I mentioned, this car's a bit old. There's not complete patterns for it, meaning that we did not have a rear bumper pattern, and we also did not have a one-piece roof and A-pillar piece. I really wanted to only have one necessary butt joint or seam on the rear quarter, not two. So I spoke to our supplier ProFilm. They think calm down. He designs all of their current patterns. He made a template for not only the rear bumper but also the roof and A-pillar in one piece, scanned it on the computer and made it into a file which we could print and apply onto the car. As is part of the trial and error process, it took a couple of attempts to get the roof especially to come down nicely. It was a little bit upsetting to peel the film off. We don't ever like to waste anything, but it is part of the process. The end result though, however, is amazing, and I'm just over the moon with the pattern for the roof that was made, and you'll see a little bit later about the rear bumper. We're just printing the rear quarters. I just knocked a roll of film over, but that's okay. So we've tweaked the pattern to extend the wrap into the arch, and we've added a wrap around here to try and get the film as tucked as possible. As I briefly mentioned earlier, we'll talk about the rear bumper now. So this is the pattern that Cam made, and I have to say he absolutely smashed it out of the park. Everything is wrapped where possible with tight seams and wraps even into the exhaust area. The little gap that you see on the right does go away when the film is finally installed. It's not currently in a finished position, and you'll see that later. The best praise that I can give is that it's just a 2024 quality pattern. So yeah, really happy, and it even has wraps into the areas around the rear lights, so it's completely covered and protected. And as I promised, it looks like there's no PPF there, completely seamless, everything's wrapped. That's the best praise that I can give for a paint protection film installation. Now after any installation there will always be a few niggles or trims or tweaks that are needed to be carried out, so we mark these with a bit of tape so we can easily see at a glance where we either need to do a little trim or check for any trapped moisture or air. It's just part of the standard quality control procedures that we do here. Reassembly of the Ferrari. Dan has put the lights in, which is just the reverse of removal and a lot easier. And he is just getting some tape and making the Ferrari badge stick back on. Where is the Ferrari badge? Oh, it's here. That looks very fiddly.
It's great fun. Also, I've just noticed the pins aren't even.
Very Italian.
have trimmed around the badge, so when the shield is fitted, these edges are not visible, which will stop any dirt lines. The indicator holes have been trimmed out, as you can see, pretty much flush. Everything's been heated and wrapped where possible, so it just tucks ever so slightly in. The indicator will fit around this hole, it's larger, so that's going to keep that nice and hidden. It's officially a Ferrari with badges front and rear. Twist and push.
Twisting is the answer.
Now you might be thinking, hey Jay, you've already washed the car. Is this the start of the video again? Have you made an editing error? Well, we have been spraying a lot of slip and IPA around the car during the installation. So we just want to make sure that we'll give it a final wash to remove this kind of residue. Now being covered completely in PPF now, the car is just a joy to wash. I can't explain just how slick the wash mitt feels over the paint. It's so easy to clean. And this particular film, which is ProFilm UCP12, has a really amazing hydrophobic top coat that behaves like a ceramic coating, and it just beads and just looks amazing. Just got a little close-up of the seam joint on the rear quarter, as the rear quarter and roof are impossible to do in one piece. Virtually invisible, really happy. The F430 is now complete. We have performed full body paint protection film installation using ProFilm's UCP12 product, 12-year guaranteed, and as you can see, the result is incredible. It's very well protected and it just looks amazing. We're super happy with how it's come out, and I'm sure the owner will be too. If you made it this far to the video, thank you honestly so much for watching it all. I know it's been a long one, and keep liking, keep subscribing, and we'll see you in the next video very soon.